Okay, so guys, today is lesson one, understanding diabetes and how it affects the human body. Uh, a little introduction, and I'm going to let you guys introduce yourself if you want to here in just a minute. My name is Brandy. I had already talked about that, the Disability and Health Program. These are my two little kiddos, and that's my husband. And fact about me is my oldest son has autism. And so I have some experience in helping him out. Let's see. Does anybody want to introduce themselves? Kind of tell us who you are, what your name is? Let's start. How about we start with my lovely Len students? So I'll throw them under the bus. Miss Joanna, do you want to introduce yourself and maybe what your part is in here in this?
Sure. Hi, everyone. My name is Joanna. I am a student and I am helping out Miss Brandy with this class. I may be teaching one of the lectures later in a couple weeks. I'm not sure, but I'm really glad to be here with all of y'all.
And then we've got Miss Kay as our other intern.
Hi, my name is Kay Bergeau, and I am a fellow trainee along with Joanna and helping out Miss Brandy. I focus on nutrition, and like Miss Joanna said, I may in the future also help to teach one of these classes. So again, excited to be here.
And she jumps in with really cool facts that I don't know about because I am not a nutrition specialist. So we like to have her with her knowledge here. What about Cami or Annalyn? Do either one of you want to introduce yourselves? You don't have to, just if you want. Cami, you want to? Let's see. I don't know if I can unmute you myself. I think you have to, I can ask you.
Hi, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay, nice. I am Cami Byers, and both of my parents have diabetes. So that makes me risk.
So you probably know some about diabetes already, huh?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. It's so nice to meet you, Cami. I hope you stick with us through the whole program, and we're just glad you're here, okay?
I'm glad to be here too.
Aw. Miss Annalyn? Oh my goodness, Annalyn has a kitty.
Who it is?
Can you tell me the kitty's name? Oh, if my son were here, he would be really excited to see your kitty because he loves kitties so much.
This is. What's her name? Just say it really loud. One word. I can do it. This is Girly.
Girly. Aw, she's so cute. I'm assuming she's a girl. She's so cute.
She's cute. And Annalyn and Cami are both in the same room. We're at Clover Community School.
Well, you are the same person in both of those, aren't you? Oh my goodness, that's hilarious.
Yes.
All right then. Well, good. But that's wonderful. I love it. Well, Annalyn, Cami. Yes, Cami, what do you have a question, hon?
Actually, I have a comment.
Okay.
We actually have 3 cats at the school.
You have 3 cats in your school?
Yep.
Can I sign up? Because that's the school I want to be.
Miss Kimberly.
Hey, I might talk to her later. That's great. That's wonderful.
If you want to do some gardening, then yeah.
You know what? That school sounds pretty cool. I'm gonna have to learn a little bit more about where y'all go because it sounds really, really neat. Okay, well, if anybody else wants to say anything, now's your time. If not, we'll just move forward. I think do I have a chat? I have a chat. I have to watch my chat. You did the survey, Charlie. Awesome. Thank you so much. Okay. There's Charlie. Hey,
Hi,
how are you?
I'm good. I work for Arkansas Rehabilitation Services in Arkansas.
Oh, great. Which city are you at?
I'm in Fort Smith.
Fort Smith. I used to know some people that worked in Fort Smith. I also worked for Arkansas Rehabilitation Services probably about 10 years ago, but I did work for them, so I'm very familiar. Well, that's great. Are you a counselor?
No,
No?
I'm an admin.
Oh, perfect, perfect, perfect. Well, definitely keep an eye out for,
I've been with the agency.
go ahead. Yeah.
I've been with the agency 13 and a half years,
Oh my goodness.
and my
Yeah.
husband has diabetes.
Oh, so that's great. You can take this information home to your husband, huh? That's what the plan is. I see that. Wonderful. That's wonderful. Well, congratulations on your amazing job record, 13 and a half years. That's awesome, Charlie. You must really like your job. You do. That's
Yes, I
wonderful.
do.
It's great to have fun. Look, now Cammie's outside. They get to go outside. I should have went to that school growing up. Okay, guys, we're gonna get going, okay? Even though we're missing a few people, but we're just gonna get right through here. Okay, so I like to kind of make up class rules together, but honestly, there's really one main rule whenever you're kind of on a virtual call. And what do you think that, or there's maybe two. What do you think those might be? So my first thought is to stay on the call, right? Stay engaged. That's important. So try to, let's see, is he gonna let me type this first time I'm trying this? Stay in the room. Yeah, stay in the room to be engaged, right? Engaged means that you are paying attention and that you are able to understand, well, I don't think this is working. Okay, we're gonna stay in the room, be engaged, and then the next rule is just to take turns, right? Take turns talking, listen to your fellow classmates when they're talking, wait your turn. If you wanna say something, you can, do a hand raise or just unmute yourself and wait for your turn, either way, okay? We always want you to, if you have something to say, we wanna hear it. If you have a question, we wanna hear it. So don't hesitate to do that, but let's just take turns talking, okay? Are you seeing that typing on there? Okay, so that's our class rules, and I think that that's going to be the same every time, and it's going to disappear, but I'll remember it. Oh, it turned blue, that's why. Okay. Excuse me, guys, moving forward. Okay, we talked about the pre-survey. And yes, the reason why the surveys are important, guys, is because we asked you these questions beforehand, and after the entire class is over, we are going to ask you these questions again and see if maybe you've learned something, or maybe you've changed some habits, just to kind of tell if our class is making a difference or not. And so that's why it's really important that we have the surveys before and after, so that we know whether we're making a difference. Go back. Okay. So can somebody tell me real quickly, if you want, what does being healthy mean to you? Cammie? Oh, can't hear you. Hold on. I'll ask you. Am I not letting y'all unmute? Ask to unmute. There we go.
Hi, can you hear me?
I can hear you now.
Okay. Nice. Okay. So, my opinion of being healthy is eating healthy foods, being honestly, I eating healthy foods, getting lots of exercise. Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, but you are absolutely correct. Eating healthy food and getting exercise are very, very important parts of being healthy, right? Anything else? Anything else someone want to add?
Drinking lots of water.
Oh, that's the most important and the hardest sometimes for me. But yes, drinking water, that is very, very important. What about going to the doctor, seeing your doctor? Is that an important part of being healthy? Right? Because you don't know there's a problem unless you go to the doctor, get it checked out, right? So that's kind of, that I think that's probably a pretty good overview of it. Okay, so we're going to talk about diabetes. Guys, those of you that know some about diabetes know that it is a complicated disease, right? Um, it's it's hard for anyone really if you're not a doctor to understand exactly what's going on here. But we're going to explain this. So diabetes is a disease in which one of your organs, your pancreas, does not make enough insulin. Okay, or you either don't make enough insulin or your body doesn't respond to the insulin that's produced. Therefore, it causes your blood sugar to elevate. Okay. So basically, what we're talking about is when it comes to diabetes, it's all about insulin and blood sugar. Insulin helps regulate your blood sugar levels throughout your body. And if you have diabetes, then you're not regulating your body isn't regulating the blood sugar as it should. Okay. So let's talk about blood sugar, because that's weird. Sugar in your blood, right? Well, a lot of times it's called glucose. So that's another word for sugar. Glucose is sugar. And believe it or not, sugar is one of the main sources of energy for your body. Your body does need some sugar in it. And insulin is what allows the sugar to be used as energy. And that's what's important, is the sugar needs to be used for what it's good for, which is providing energy for your body. And so if your pancreas does not make enough insulin, then it's not using the sugar for insulin and it's building up in your blood. Oh, go back. Now glucose travels all over your body through your blood. And so if it's traveling through your blood, through your whole body, what do you think it affects? It affects your entire body, right? Because if your blood sugar is high and your blood goes to all of your organs, then that means that is going to affect every part of your body. Your food, whenever you eat your food, it gets digested into your stomach, right? The glucose goes into your bloodstream, into your veins. And then your muscles are what uses it as energy. But it's the insulin that allows the glucose to be used. So if you don't use the glucose, it builds up in your blood and you have too much, and that means you have high blood sugar, okay? This is all confusing, but we're gonna watch a video that might help a little bit. And in the end, our main goal here, guys, is not for you guys to be experts on diabetes, because it takes a lot of schooling to be an expert on a diabetes. But what we want to do is just have a basic understanding and know what diabetes affects. So once again, if glucose can't be used as energy, you have high levels in your blood, and this damages your veins and your organs. Now, once again, I was not able to embed a video like I wanted to, so I'm going to go over here and see what we can watch. Now you guys let me know if you cannot hear or see this.
In this video, we're going to explore how our blood glucose concentration is controlled by the hormones insulin and glucagon. And at the end, we'll see how these fit together in a negative feedback loop. Blood glucose concentration is just a fancy way of describing the amount of sugar in our bloodstream. We all need a decent amount of sugar in our blood so that our cells have a constant supply of glucose that they can use for respiration. However, if the blood glucose concentration gets too high, it can start to damage our tissues. So we need to keep a fine balance, where it's not too high or too low. If you were to eat a really big meal that had loads of carbohydrates in it, then those carbohydrates would be broken down in your intestines into lots of glucose molecules. These would then be absorbed into your bloodstream and cause your blood glucose concentration to increase. We can see this if we plot it on a graph that measures how blood glucose concentration changes with time. Before the meal, the level of glucose fluctuates slightly but stays around this normal level. Once we eat the carbohydrates though, we see this spike as the glucose is absorbed into the blood. This rise in glucose levels will be detected by your pancreas, which is an organ that sits just behind the stomach. And in response, it will release a hormone called insulin into your bloodstream. As it's traveling around the body, the insulin will bind to receptors on certain cells, which tells those cells to take in some of the glucose that's floating around in your blood. This happens in loads of different cells, but most important are liver and muscle cells. These two take up lots of the extra glucose molecules and combine them together to form glycogen, which is basically a long-term storage form of glucose. And so because all of this glucose is being removed from the blood glucose concentration is going to decrease. Looking back at our graph, we can see this as the glucose concentration falling back to the normal level. So we now know how our body fixes high levels of glucose, but we also need to be able to fix low levels of glucose. And this is where glucagon comes in. Don't get glucagon confused with glycogen. Glucagon is a hormone, whereas glycogen is a large molecule made up of lots of glucose molecules. Just like insulin, glucagon is also released from the pancreas, but it actually does the opposite of insulin, which is to say that it increases blood glucose rather than decreases it. So if we were to look at our graph again, and imagine that our blood glucose levels drop too low, for example because we skipped our breakfast and have been rushing about all morning, then our pancreas will detect this low concentration of blood glucose and secrete glucagon into the bloodstream. As the glucagon travels around the body, it would bind to lots of different cells, but mainly liver cells, which will take that glycogen that we mentioned earlier and break it down into lots of glucose molecules again. And then it would release these glucose molecules into the blood. This would bring the blood glucose concentration back up to normal, so that all of our cells have a good supply of it for respiration. If you think about insulin and glucagon together, you can see that they create a negative feedback loop. If glucose levels get too high, then insulin is released, which causes the glucose to drop down again. But if it drops too low, then glucagon is released, which causes the glucose levels to increase again. In reality, our bodies keep releasing insulin and glucagon to ensure that the amount of glucose in our bloodstream is always kept around the right levels. And this is why our blood glucose concentration constantly changes or fluctuates like this, rather than being a flat line. So we hope you found that useful. If you did, then...
Okay, so that video was one of the best videos that I could find that really, really explains it, a very complicated subject. And I liked it because it had a lot of visuals. But just know that that is the very specifics of diabetes. And the important information to take away from that is that diabetes affects your blood sugar and that you don't want it to get too low or too high, okay? And throughout this course, we're going to talk about ways that you can keep yourself healthy and help prevent yourself from getting diabetes or help control diabetes. So there's several different types of diabetes. There's type 1, type 2, and then the third kind is kind of just like a pre-diabetic. It's not, you know, it means that you're at risk. But the type 1 means that your body does not make insulin. Without insulin, your blood sugar level becomes too high, right? And you have to take insulin. And so most people that have type 1 diabetes take insulin. It's genetic, or maybe they're born with it. They have it from a young age often. And so this type 1 is different from type 2 because in type 2, your body does make insulin, but not enough, or the insulin that you make doesn't work in your body the way that it's supposed to. And so with type 2, most of the time you can just get by with pills or medication. You don't necessarily have to inject insulin all the time. Everyone's different. Now, type 2 diabetes is important because this is the type that is most most avoidable. So if you're going to try to prevent type 2 diabetes, there's ways you can do it. If you are born with type 1, there's not much you can do. But with type 2 diabetes, there's steps you can take to help reduce your risk of getting it or to help control it. So what makes you at risk for diabetes? Actually, did you know that 1 in 3 people are at risk for diabetes? That's a lot. You know, that's a third of the people walking around are at risk, and some may know it and some may not. Here are some of the risk factors for diabetes. Some of the important ones that I would like to highlight that we're going to talk about are if you are overweight, if you smoke cigarettes, if you're over the age of 45, apparently males are more at risk for diabetes as well. You could also, if you don't exercise, or if you don't exercise enough, that can be a risk. And then also you might want to be more careful and pay a little more attention if you do have people in your family that have diabetes, because you know, sometimes these things can be genetic and you might be more prone to it. So if you happen to have family members who have diabetes, just know that that's something to look out for. And it might be a good idea to work on being healthy. Yes, we talked about, yes, if you are at risk for prediabetes, I think all of that. Also, if you have high blood pressure, that's also a risk for diabetes. So if you have any of these risk factors, or you think you might be pre-diabetic, it's important to talk to your doctor about getting your blood sugars checked. Has anybody here had a blood sugar test lately? No? The last one I did was when I was pregnant, and of course, when you're pregnant, you can get what's called gestational diabetes, which is a whole different ballgame. But you know, they make you do a fasting blood sugar test, and it's just to make sure that your body is processing the insulin correctly, and that you're not building up extra blooding or extra sugar in your blood. And so, you know, if you are at risk, it's not a bad idea to say, hey, you know, once a year, once every couple of years, get yourself a blood sugar test from your doctor just to check it and make sure that you are healthy. Okay, so for this part of the activity, this one is Probably Annalyn and Cami, I'm gonna need your help with this one, right? We've got some puzzles. Charlie, you still there? I'm going to tell
Yes, I'm gonna have to go up front for a little bit.
Oh, yes, ma'am. We are actually almost done. We will be,
Oh, okay.
yeah, we'll be finished in probably about 15 minutes, but you can leave anytime you need to, okay? Don't worry about that. Okay, so this one, I need you to guess the food. This one says, I grow on a tree. I'm really a berry, but you wouldn't think so by how I look. And I can be green or yellow. Any guesses?
Is it a banana?
A banana. You got it, Charlie. That was good. I thought that one was kind of tricky because I didn't know bananas were berries. Bananas. What food group is that? Do you know, Annalyn, Cami? What is that?
That food group is a fruit.
Very nice. Next up, I have furry skin. I smell delicious, and I have a large pit inside. Wait, what do you think, Cami?
Peach.
Peaches.
My first thought for fuzzy skin was a kiwi.
Oh, you know what? I love kiwis. I like kiwis better than peaches, and they do have more fuzzy skin too. So you're right, that was kind of tricky, huh? Do you like peaches, Annalyn? Not really? Maybe we'll find something that you like. What about this one? The other ones were fruits. This one's gonna throw you off. I'm green, I'm only small, and I grow in a pod. Yes, ma'am.
Edamame or peas?
I absolutely could be edamame. Your palate's a little more advanced than mine right now, but yes, it was peas. What group is peas in? Yep. This is a free for all. Yeah, anybody can answer. Go right ahead. You don't have to raise your hand. Vegetable. Yeah, peas are a vegetable. Okay. This one, I grow very, very large. I'm very popular at Halloween, and I am usually orange. Annalyn, I see you thinking. Oh, I clicked it. It's a pumpkin. Sorry. I ruined it. I ruined that one. There's one more. Maybe I won't ruin this one. I grow as an ear. Annalyn grows as an ear. It can be popped. And you're usually yellow. It's usually yellow. What do you pop that grows on an ear? You can yell it out. Go ahead. Cami?
Corn.
Corn.
Like corn too.
Yeah, she got corn too. Yeah, sweet. Good job, Annalyn. Perfect. And see, there we go. That's all I have for today, guys. Today's class was our introduction to diabetes, and you know, from now on, every class we're going to talk about some different things and dive a little deeper into specifics. And I hope we have a lot of fun, and there will be a lot of cool videos to watch. So please stick with me. And if y'all have any questions or any issues that you need beforehand, just email me. And we're going to be at the same Zoom link every single week. But if for some reason you need me to send it to you again, I will be more than happy to do that. Okay? Does anyone have any comments or questions?
Thank you.
Oh, thank you so much for coming, Miss Charlie. Thanks, Cami and Lynn. I appreciate y'all. I hope to see you next week, okay? All right. Bye, y'all.